Good morning and welcome to the Engaging All Learners interactive workshop featuring art strategies for student-led success, presented by Matt Bogdanow and Naomi Hernandez. I am Celise Heron, SIP Program Support Specialist at RCOE, Riverside County Office of Ed, and I am excited and thrilled to be your moderator for this breakout session. Matt Bogdanow is a Berklee College of Music graduate, as well as a graduate of the Community Word Project Teaching Artist Training and Internship Program. He is an author of The Backbone of Drumming, a systematic approach to learning the drum set. As a renowned musician and educator, he ensures that everyday art workshops have space for both noise and sometimes excruciating long silence. Naomi Hernandez is an accomplished choreographer, artist, director, and arts administrator. She lives in New York City, working as a teaching artist, dancer, choreographer, and artistic director before returning to her hometown of Los Angeles. Her artistic work has been presented by Jacob's Pillow Dance Festival, the Brooklyn Philharmonic, the Kingdom of Bayron, and the New York Metropolitan Museum, among many others. Welcome, presenters. There are a few logistics. This session will be recorded and archived on the conference agenda page after the conference for 1 month. Closed captioning is available by clicking the closed captioning button on the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. The interpretation icon is in the same area, will provide access to Spanish translation. We will ensure the ASL interpreters are spotlighted along with the PowerPoint and the presenters. Please make sure your volume is muted to avoid background distractions while presenters are speaking. We encourage you to engage with others in the chat, and when possible, keep your camera on so we can see your fabulous faces. And now with that, Matt and Noemi, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, here we are. Welcome to Engaging All Learners, an interactive workshop featuring art strategies for student-led success. We are so excited to have you with us today. Our welcome slide features an agenda. So after introductions and a brief history of our work, we'll be doing a performing arts activity called Go and Stop. Then we'll watch a video of what everyday arts lessons look like in classrooms. We'll do a visual arts activity called Folded Paper Portraits, and we'll end with a Q&A. On the right, you'll see a picture of a student leading the Go and Stop activity that we'll all be trying in a moment. But first, let's introduce ourselves, which we already sort of have, but Noemi, who are we?
Yes, so I'm Noemi Hernandez, Executive Director of Everyday Arts. Here with me today is Matt Bogdanow, our Director of Education. The two of us are also co-founders of the organization, along with Vanessa Ramirez-Peg, who sadly was not able to join us today.
We'd like to begin with a land acknowledgement. Everyday Arts acknowledges our presence on unceded land traditionally cared for by the Tongva, Kizh, Chumash, and Fernandeño Tataviam peoples. We honor their elders past and present and their descendants who are citizens of the Gabrielino Tongva Nation, Chumash Nation, Kizh Nation, and the Fernandeño Tataviam Band of Mission Indians. Please take a moment to consider the many legacies of violence, displacement, exclusion, erasure, migration, and settlement that have brought us here together. We also realize that not everyone is joining us from the greater Los Angeles area. You can find whose land you're on by visiting nativeland.ca, which we'll drop in the chat right now.
Awesome. So this is going to be a highly interactive session. We're going to make all sorts of visual and performing art together. But first, here's just a tiny bit of context for who we are and what we're doing here. Everyday Arts' mission is to support neurodiverse students in achieving their goals through inclusive arts integration. By training educators in arts activities that prioritize social emotional learning, we aim to create caring, collaborative, and supportive classrooms for all students. Matt and I have been doing this work in a variety of settings since 2010 and have worked with thousands of students across different populations. Students with autism, physical disabilities, learning disabilities, emotional disturbance, and more.
Along the way, there have been a number of third-party research studies that have confirmed the efficacy of our work, including an article in the UC Irvine Journal for Learning Through the Arts. And what they've all found is that our arts integration methodology encourages student engagement, which in turn drives social, emotional, and academic growth. So in other words, if the students are engaged, it's easier to teach them.
Mhm. Teachers who have participated in our professional development use everyday arts activities to help their students with so many skills, more than we could possibly list here. But here's a sample to give you an idea, many of which are taken from student IEP goals: choice making, turn taking, time on task, following one-step directions, reading comprehension, communication skills, leadership skills, and emotional regulation.
All right, let's see our first strategy in action. We'll be trying the activity Go and Stop. So we invite you to participate in these activities as yourself. There's no need to pretend to be your students or your clients. We'll experience the activity fully and then have time afterwards to discuss what it would look like in a particular space or classroom. We also realize it's a bit strange to be teaching activities that encourage communication and collaboration without being in the same room together. So again, if you have the ability to turn your camera on, that helps us feel connected, like we're sharing a space. But if not, we understand, and you can participate in whatever way works for you. So get ready to clap your hands when I show you the go sign, and stop when I show you the stop sign. If clapping is not an accessible movement for you, feel free to make any sound or movement that represents clapping to you. Okay, get ready. Go! Stop. Go! Stop. Go! Stop. Go! Stop. All right, take a breath, shake it out. Excellent clapping. I can't hear you, but I can see you, some of you, and I love to see those smiles. Now we're going to get ready for a different movement. We're going to rub our hands together. So when you see the go sign, rub your hands together. And again, if that is not a movement that is accessible for you, make your own modification. But get ready to rub those hands together when you see the go sign. Go! Stop. Go! Stop. Go! Stop. Okay, shake it out. Take a breath. We're going to do another movement. This is a silent movement. We're going to shrug our shoulders up and down, but only when you see the go sign. Again, we're going to shrug our shoulders or make any movement that is similar to that when you see the go sign. Get ready. Go. Stop. Go. Stop. Go. Stop. All right, shake it out, take a breath. I'm having a lot of fun making you all shrug your shoulders, but it's even more fun if somebody else gets to be the leader. So I need a volunteer to be the leader. So raise your hand if you would like a turn being the leader. And look, Noemi has volunteered. If we were in person, I could give these go and stop signs directly to somebody, but since we're online, I'm going to take advantage of the fact that Noemi has her own go and stop signs. We could even do a little magic. Noemi, here, I'm going to pass these to you.
Whoa, thank you,
She's got
Matt.
her go and stop signs. So Noemi, since you're the leader, you get a special treat. You get to decide what animal sound all of your colleagues are going to make. And then when you lead, you're going to show them the go sign so they can only see go. And then you're going to show them the stop sign so they can only see stop. And you get to decide what animal sound and when they make that sound.
Okay. I'm going to pick a cow sound.
A cow sound. Now, if anybody feels like unmuting themselves so we can have the sound of some cows, you could unmute yourself now. Otherwise, you're just going to hear me mooing like a cow. So if anyone wants to unmute for this short moment, that would be fun.
Yes.
And Noemi, whenever you're ready, you get to be the leader.
All right. Ready? Go.
Moo.
Stop. Go.
Moo.
Stop. Go. Stop. And go. And stop. Go. And stop. Oh my gosh, that was pretty good. Thank you for unmuting yourselves.
Thank
That
you,
was
Noemi.
much
That
more
was
fun.
great. We can stay unmuted for a little while if you want to, because we're going to change things up. So far, everything we've done has been binary. So you're either making a sound or you're not making a sound. You're making a movement or not making a movement. But if we want to incorporate multiple sounds and movements into the same activity, we need icons. So I have some icons here. This is a picture of two hands clapping, and this is our stop sign. So when I point to the picture of the hands clapping, we can all clap our hands like we did before. And when I point to stop, we can stop. Everybody get ready to clap your hands. Go. Awesome. So if we want to add more sounds, we can just add more icons. So I have another icon here, which is a picture of a shoe. It's a Chuck Taylor Converse All-Star. This is going to be stomping feet. So now when I point up here, we can all stomp our feet. And if you can't stomp feet, any sort of sound or movement that represents feet stomping to you, clapping hands is here and stop is here. So we can alternate between different sounds. Get ready. Awesome. Shake it out. Take a breath. And there are a lot of ways to integrate academic curriculum into this activity. We're going to show you one. This will be the last thing, and then we'll talk about what we did. So in this case, the curriculum we're working on is letter sounds. So we have the letter B, which makes the sound B, B. We have the letter K, which makes the sound K, K. And when we have a stop sign. So now when I point to this, we'll all make the sound of the letter B. When I point to this, we'll make the sound of the letter K. And when I point to this, we will stop. Ready? And again, if you want to be unmuted for this, it'll be more fun. But if you want to stay muted, that's okay. I understand. Here we go. Amazing. Thank you so much for unmuting. It's a lot more fun for me. I appreciate that SIP switched to a Zoom meeting format so that we could see some of your faces and hear some of your voices and your clapping. It does just feel like we're in a room together. That was the end of the activity, so now we're going to talk about what we did. So we should probably all mute now. We'll have some time for questions and discussion in a little bit. But let's talk about that activity we just did together.
All right. Well, every one of our activities has a 5-page activity guide, which helps educators plan how to implement the strategy in their classroom. We've tried to approximate it here in slide fashion, including only the most central elements for today's short workshop. We start with an overview. In Go and Stop, students use icons to conduct and perform music and movement. So by turning following directions into a game, this activity can make learning more fun. And all you need is a double-sided Go card and a double-sided Stop card, both of which you can print out or draw. So here's the sequence of the activity. So the first one, the leader stands in front of the players holding a Go card in one hand and a Stop in the other. The leader then chooses a sound or movement for the players to make. The leader holds the Go card up while putting the Stop card behind their back. Incorporate verbal prompts, go or stop, as appropriate. Some sound and movement options are clapping, tapping pencils on a desk, stomping feet, blinking your eyes, wiggling fingers, waving hands, shrugging your shoulders, which we did. You can nod your head, and we can also do animal sounds or any other sounds that you like. So the most important thing to note here is to take sounds and movements from the abilities of your students. There are many ways to expand this activity, but this is the most basic version. So what are the benefits of this activity? So Go and Stop helps students develop leadership skills, choice making, self-discipline, following directions, of course, and performance skills. Go and Stop addresses the following California arts standards for music. So kindergarten music standard creating 1, with guidance explore and experience music concepts, with guidance generate musical ideas. Kindergarten music create 2, with guidance demonstrate and choose favorite musical ideas, with guidance organize personal musical ideas using iconic notation and or recording technology. And also kindergarten music performing 6, with guidance perform music with expression.
Awesome. And all of our activities are aligned to kindergarten standards because those are the first ones and we want them to be as accessible as possible. We've done these activities all the way up through middle and high school, and you can always scaffold and make things more challenging and developmentally appropriate for your students. So that's the activity. There are a lot of different ways you can do this, and just by show of hands, although am I going to be able to see your hands? Can I see everybody? I can't really see everybody. Who can imagine doing some version of this activity with your students? Hands or in the chat. Oh, I can see everybody. Oh, there we go. Look at all those hands. Okay, that makes me happy. So what sounds or movements would you start with? Maybe let's use the chat for this. Would you start? We started with clapping, then rub hands together, then shrug shoulders, then animal sounds. Where would you start with your students? Maybe throw answers in the chat if you have an idea. Oh, I'm seeing in the chat that some of us are in a room with others and they're getting quite the show. That's great. I've done this activity with college students before during like virtual learning in 2020. And one of them was like, I have a roommate and he's very confused by why I'm mooing like a cow and I'm supposed to be in class right now. All right, cat, animal sounds, clapping. Do you have any for middle school? Wiggling fingers or clapping, blinking, clapping, voice levels, shouts and whispers, animal sounds. Yeah, for middle school, this is a strategy that you can use for anything. So I used to use Stop and Go for rehearsals. I'm a music teacher, a musician by trade, And so this is an activity that I would do, in leading a small band where they're playing guitar and bass and drums, and we use Go and Stop to practice, like getting ready for a recital, because it keeps them really focused on what they're doing. And so there are ways you can always make this appropriate for older students, for middle and high school. Jumping, sight words, yeah, making shapes with hands, letter sounds and names. Awesome. Does anyone have any questions about this activity? And maybe we can use the Zoom raise hand feature, or I don't know, maybe that's the way to do it. I think we have that enabled, do we? Any questions about this activity? And as Celeste said at the beginning, I am very comfortable with long, excruciating silences. I'm going to assume that at least one person has some sort of question. Ooh, we do have it enabled. Great. So if you have a question, raise your hand.
I'm looking at the chat. I don't see any questions in the chat either. All right, should we keep going?
Does anyone have a comment? Anything they want to share with the group? All right, this group is preferring to communicate in the chat, but I love what's happening in the chat. So I'll read some of these out loud before we move on. So we've got rhyming words, learning a scene work. This can be so great in theater. You can pretty much adapt it to whatever you like. Yes, that's the idea, and I feel like this group is getting that. You can use this to do anything, and there are two reasons that I really love this activity. One is that you can have students be the leaders very quickly in any type of class. Students can be the leaders and be empowered that way. It's really magical to watch students hold the Go and Stop sign and make the adults in the room moo like a cow. And the other reason that I love this activity is that it makes the stopping fun. So it makes silence fun and exciting and engaging. So instead of saying, be quiet, stop doing that, which students sometimes hear too much during the day, the stop becomes mysterious, it becomes suspenseful, and it makes the go more fun as well. So that back and forth really can create engagement with any subject matter. Great. Should we go on?
All right. Awesome. Always feel free to, if you think of a question later, you can always drop it in the chat and then we can address it at the next little breakout session. So as we said in the beginning, our belief is that increasing student engagement leads to improved learning outcomes in all areas. We've identified 3 core components to increase student engagement in arts education inclusion settings. So you can see them here in the slide. So as we plan activities, the 3 questions we always ask ourselves are there opportunities for student choice making, student partnership, student leadership? If the answer is yes to all 3, it's probably a pretty engaging lesson. If the answer is no to all 3, we might rethink our plan. In the case of Go and Stop, you could imagine a much less engaging version of the same basic activity where we remove student choice making. So everyone has to make the exact same sound and no one gets to choose what sound or movement to make. We remove partnership. So instead of making sounds as a group, we make them one at a time. And we remove student leadership, so the teacher is the only person who gets to be the conductor. By addressing these 3 components, we create a much more engaging activity with access points for diverse learners. So now we're going to watch a 4-minute video to see what everyday arts activities look like in a classroom. There are some interview clips where a colleague says some very nice things about us. Thanks, Brian. But today we'd invite you to focus on the students and see if you notice opportunities for student choice making, partnership, and leadership. Let's watch.
My name is Brian Wake. I am currently teaching at 116th Street Elementary School in Watts, Los Angeles, California. I'm a special education teacher working with students who have multiple disabilities, including orthopedic disabilities or physical disabilities, also visual impairment and intellectual disabilities. When I first began with Everyday Arts, I was a little skeptical, not so much because of what they were offering, but because of the severity of the disability of my students. Not so much physically, but in terms of behavior. That was the real challenge. We had a lot of students with very difficult behaviors. And it was just amazing to see them become engaged, become focused, and want to do work. They didn't know it was work because it was a game, because they were having fun. And it really taught me that, anything really is possible. Do you remember what color you chose? You chose red. Find something that is red. Pick something that is red. There you go. That's red. What color is it? Red. Okay, ready? I want to see you turn around. Okay, here we go. Red, 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 red. Yay! The training was wonderful. The scary part was when Vanessa from Everyday Arts came into the classroom and said, let's play a game called freeze tag. And I thought, no, not with my students. These are students that could not sit still, did not like to do any kind of academic activities. A lot of them were runners. Some of them were physically aggressive. And so we had them all spaced out where it was very safe. So I looked at her in the eye and I said, I don't think this is a good idea. And she said, oh, let's just try it. So we went ahead and she led the group while I could observe. And I was astonished because by the end of the short 20-minute activity, she had my students wanting to sit in the chair because that was part of the game. She had my students quiet when they needed to be, loud when she needed them to be. She had them focused, she had them engaged. And that's when I said, okay, I'm in. Okay, where do you want to put it? Right there? Very good. I love the philosophy that, really to observe what's going on, to see what's happening and be willing to change with that, and also allowing for mistakes to occur, because there really are no mistakes. You just sort of takes it in a different journey, and you learn from that, and you adapt your lesson the next time. It's much easier to do lessons when the students are engaged, and they can stay engaged longer when they're having fun. So lessons that would normally take 5-10 minutes, we can go maybe 15 and 20 minutes. And I can even do an activity in a classroom where you have a wide variety of intellectual abilities. There it is. Can you put it in? Yay! Nice job, Julie! Everyday Arts really does need to be done every day if you really want it to work, so that the students get used to it, your staff gets used to it, because it is teaching outside the box. Everyday Arts will not just change your view on your students, it will change how you look at yourself as a teacher and how you even look at your classroom. It will change everything for the better.
Thanks, Brian. Very sweet of him to say that. I see we've got some stuff in the chat. Great first. Oh, have I gone back too far? Stop and Go song by Lisa Loeb. Oh, there's all this cool stuff about Stop and Go in the chat. Did anyone notice any specific opportunities for student choice making, partnership, or leadership in the video? And you can put them in the chat, or if anyone wants to just unmute and say it. I feel like we're a relatively mid-sized, well-behaved group. So if someone wants to just unmute, you can do that too. Where to put the tape? Yeah, there was choice making there.
It sounded like they got to choose the red and the blue. They chose those colors for the activity.
Yeah, they chose the colors for the activity, And then within the activity, there were, yeah, they could choose the object. There were multiple red objects and blue objects. It wasn't just find the only one that's red, right? They got to choose within that. Selecting colors, working with others on shared art project. Any questions about this video?
I have a question. So is that were you guys supporting the entire site or did that one teacher reach out?
We generally have cohorts of 3 to 4 teachers at each school where we work. And so the teachers attend workshops together where just like this, where we do the activity together and then plan what it'll look like in their classroom. And then we visit their class once a week for a certain amount of time and help them co-facilitate, and eventually they're leading the lessons on their own. So at this school, oh, this was actually a funny one I'm remembering now because Brian was at one site where we had a cohort of teachers, and then he transferred to a different school, and we kept working with him. So at the point this video was taken, he was the only teacher at that school because he was really committed to finishing. He did a 3-year training with us, and he was really committed to finishing that 3rd year. So by the end, he was doing those activities at a school where we hadn't worked before. But generally, it's great to have a cohort of teachers that can bounce ideas off of each other, support each other, and sometimes lead inclusion lessons together. Sometimes we'll have a special ed teacher and a gen ed teacher that will attend trainings together and plan lessons together. Any other questions before we go on to our next activity? All right, so for our second and final activity for today, if you would like to participate, you will need a piece of paper and something to write or draw with. Any sort of paper, it can be a scrap paper, it can be white, lined, colored, anything, and something to write or draw with. If you don't have one, that's okay. If you're on a computer, you could do this in Google Docs or use a Jamboard, a Notes app, anything you want. Or you can just watch along and create words and images in your mind. There's no wrong way to do it, but we'll give everyone a minute to grab a piece of paper and something to write with if you would like.
Okay, so hopefully everyone has grabbed a paper and a marker, pencil, crayon, whatever is available to you. And so we're going to move on to an activity that we call folded paper portraits. It's a simple strategy we used to create community during shelter in place and the following year of virtual learning. So now that we're mostly back in person, we've found teachers continue to use it in their classroom. So we wanted to share it with you today. Begin by taking your paper and folding it in half. So it doesn't need to be exactly in half, but the idea of half. Go ahead and do that. Now we're going to fold it in half again, one more time. Okay, now you should have 4 distinct sections. So you're going to unfold that and you'll see your 4 distinct sections. So you're going to take that marker or crayon or pencil, whatever you have, and trace along the creases to solidify and outline those 4 sections. So I'll give you a little time to do that. So wherever your lines are, your creases are, draw right over that. Okay. So now we're going to start to fill the sections using a series of prompts. For the first section, we're going to write our name. So you'll write your name. It can be your first name, your last name, nickname, whatever you like. And feel free to use that whole section and fill it up. I'll give you some time for that.
is this a vision in my mind? The laws never pass.
All right, if you haven't finished your name, that's okay. You can keep working on it. But I want to go ahead and give the next prompt. We've got 3 sections left, and the rest of today's prompts are going to focus on one of our favorite topics, which is social emotional learning. So we'll be looking at a few of the social emotional competencies from the Collaborative for Academic, Social and Emotional Learning, CASEL, starting with self-management. So in our second section is going to be our self-management section. And one component of self-management is identifying and using stress management strategies. So choose a second section of your paper and write or draw a picture of a stress management strategy that you use. So in a second section, write or draw a picture of a stress management strategy that you use, something you do for fun.
But somehow all men feel they're truly free at last. Have we really gone this far through space and time? Or is this a vision in my mind? I'm not one who make believes. I know that leaves are green. They only turn to brown when autumn comes around. I know just what I say. Today's not yesterday, and all things have an ending. But what I'd like to know is, could a place like this exist so beautiful? Or do we have to find our wings and fly away to the vision in our mind?
All right, I'm going to give our next prompt. It's okay if you're not finished with that section. But in our third section, we're going to look at responsible decision making. So that entails reflecting on one's role to promote personal, family, and community well-being. So in a third section, write or draw something you do for your family's or community's well-being. Section 3, write or draw something you do for your family's or community's well-being. And we'll keep listening to Stevie Wonder while we do that. All right, and it's okay if you have not finished that one, but our last section, the competency is social awareness. Social awareness. So instead of giving you a prompt, I'm going to ask the group for a prompt. So does anyone have a suggestion for what we could write or draw in our fourth section? If you have a suggestion, put it in the chat and we will choose one. Ooh, the first one I see is what you love the most. Let's do that. In our fourth section, something that you love. Section 4, something that you love. That's a great way to end. We'll have another minute or so to finish these. It's okay if they're not masterpieces. They're probably not going up on the wall of a museum. This is just for us to explore some aspects of ourselves. So section 4, something that you love.
I'm not one who make the leaves. I know that leaves are green. They only change to brown when autumn comes around. I know just what I say. Today's not yesterday, and all things have an ending. But what I'd like to know is, could a place like this exist so beautiful? Or do we have to take our wings and fly away to the visions in our mind?
All right.
All right, amazing. So we just made abstract self-portraits. We can use these to get to know each other a little better. So we're going to go into breakout rooms, and you can share your artwork with another person. We'll be in breakout rooms for 4 minutes. So take turns sharing your art and asking follow-up questions about things you see that you're curious about. We're going to go ahead and put 2.
All right, I'm going to open them now. So you'll be in groups of 2 in breakout rooms. We'll be in there for just 4 minutes. You'll get a 30-second warning when the room is about to close, and then we'll come back to close out together. So you'll have opportunity to share your portrait with someone else, ask them questions about what you see, and then we'll come back. If you are not able to join a breakout room, because I see that not everybody is able to join them, you can stay here in the main room, and Noemi and I will model what this looks like. So Noemi, this is my portrait. So my name is Matt. Something that I do for stress management is yard work. This is a picture of a rake. For some reason, I find it very calming to rake leaves. Something I do for my family's well-being is I do a lot of cooking. I don't actually have a chef's hat, but this is my drawing of cooking. And then, as you know, the thing that I love most is music. I drew a bunch of eighth notes.
Yes, that's a shocker. All right, well, I'll share mine as well. So I didn't finish coloring it in, but I was trying to be fancy, and trying to be fancy, and I wrote my name in block letters. This is the thing that is kind of like my self-care, or it helps relax me. So this is actually a candle. It's not to scale, obviously. The candle's bigger than the trees in this picture, but so yes, I like to just have like nice scented candles. And then this is actually a park, so I like to kind of just go outside and get some sunshine. Just makes me feel better to get some fresh air and that the sun hit my face, and just that always feels good. So over here, I have, I also cook for my family. So these are some eggs and bacon and toast, like a little breakfast thing. And I also, I put everyday arts here because I know part of the question was community. And so I feel like that is part of taking care of our community, is helping bring joy to classrooms so the kids in our community can engage in their learning and a lot more in a fun way. So, and then I put, so my favorite thing, not a surprise to Matt at all, is dancing. So I love dancing and I love music. I don't create the music, but I like to listen to the music and move my body to music. That particular thing I find extremely satisfying. So, yeah, that's my
Awesome.
filter paper
So,
portrait.
so many connections between the two. Music, outside time, community.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much for sharing. I love cooking also, and music is love music, and to dance.
Yes. Oh,
Awesome.
yes. You should all
Um,
out together, have dinner and go dancing.
there we go. Now we're
There you
talking.
go. I'm in.
Do it.
Let's see. We've got about 30 seconds as people will make their way back from the breakout rooms. 4 minutes goes by quickly, but I know we're trying to pack in a lot today. So, and I see in the chat that there's a large group that's sharing in person. That's so exciting.
Oh,
Um,
that's amazing.
yeah, that's great. So maybe that's why I noticed a bunch of people didn't end up in the breakout. So that could be why.
Ah, great.
All right, we are back from our breakouts. I hope that you made some new friends, found some connections with people, and we are towards the end of our time together. So we're going to just quickly share our abbreviated activity guide, and then we'll wrap up with a Q&A. So let's just look at this. So that was folded paper portraits. So in this activity, students share personal attributes by folding and decorating paper. Their art then becomes a launching pad for reflection and discussion. And all you need is paper and something to write with. The sequence, each student begins with a piece of paper, you fold it. If you want 4 sections, you fold it twice. If you keep folding it twice, it doubles the amount of sections. And then we give students prompts for filling in each area. So it can be as simple as write or draw your favorite food, favorite color, something you're good at, things like that. And then the sharing part is just as important as the creating. So we're really looking to have students practice self-expression and ask questions of each other. And in a workshop like this, we left that very open-ended. In a classroom, I would be much more hands-on in terms of guiding those conversations, depending on what the students needed. And so the benefits of this activity, it helps students develop self-awareness and social awareness, also choice making, answering WH questions, and following directions. It is aligned to visual art standards. So in this case, engage in exploration and imaginative play with various arts materials, and through experimentation, build skills in various media and approaches to art making. So there are so many ways that students can do this activity. There's different ways they can decorate their paper using markers, pens, crayons, dot markers, stickers, collage. In some classes, the teachers will print out images and the students are selecting from a bank of images and then gluing onto paper. So it's really all about meeting the specific abilities of your students. That is the end of our abbreviated guide. And like I said, this is a simple framework that we can use to teach a lot of things, and you can think about how the prompts would change it. Today we focused on social emotional learning. But I also see that we are just about at the end of our time together, and we did want to make some time for just broad Q&A at the end. And I also wanted to say before we end that there's going to be a roundtable discussion happening at 12:10 that I'll be guiding, which is just about inclusion and arts education. So we can continue this conversation then, or talk about anything on your mind relating to inclusion and arts education.
We do have time for any questions now. If you'd like to chat, put it in the chat. We can answer any questions. I think I saw one about how they can get a hold of curriculum.
Oh yeah. So this slideshow that you just saw, oh wait, we sent a PDF. Maybe this is something that Celeste can answer, because I think we did send a PDF and I don't know exactly how everybody could get it. You can also always email me or Noemi, Matt at Everyday Arts, or Noemi at Everyday Arts to keep the discussion going and help with resources, but I think there is some way to access these guides.
All of the presenter slides and materials are linked onto your section, your session section.
Okay, awesome. So yeah, that has, so the slideshow, which is the sort of horizontal version that's kind of simple bullet points. And then we also have a PDF that's more printable and has a lot more information on it and goes into depth of these two activities.
Yeah, and if you'd like to learn more about Everyday Arts, I'm just dropping our web address in the chat in case that you'd like to just learn more about what we do or find other ways to contact us.
Okay, thank you so much. So this is the closing of our session. Thank you again, Matt and Noemi, for a fantastic interactive session. Very grounding activities. Great for a wonderful Friday morning. Thank you everyone for your active participation, your attendance, and also for your allyship to our students with disabilities and their families. It's our mission to grow our educational system, to innovate, include, impact outcomes positively for all, from birth to adulthood and beyond. All of this presentation slides and resources can be accessed in the session description section on the VFAIRS agenda page. Now, be sure to join us at the break for Inclusion Infusion with DJ B Diamond, spinning on the ones and twos from 11 to 11:10 this morning. Make sure to connect in the social lounge with like-minded attendees and post on social media using the hashtag SIPCon 2023, hashtag SIPCON 2023. For what comes next, please check out our conference agenda. And we do have a survey that will be dropped in the chat. It is a conference survey, not a breakout room survey. Thank you again for joining us, and happy Friday, everyone.
Thanks, everybody. This was fun.
Thank you. Bye.